The handcuffs bite into my wrists, and I decide I will not cry in front of these men. There are maybe 20 of them, ringed around the edges of a hall built out of black marble and money, guns under their jackets, faces like closed doors. They delivered me here in the trunk of thought, if not a car, passed from hand to hand all night like a debt anyone could sign for, because that is what I am tonight, a payment. The man they fear is walking toward me. I have heard the name Kang Ji-hwan, the way you hear thunder before you see the storm. The Korean Mafia king, the one even the police cross the street to avoid. He is exactly what the whispers promised. Tall, broad, moving slow, the way dangerous things move when they are certain. Late 40s maybe. A hard face, stubble shadowing a jaw that looks like it was carved out of the same marble as the floor. A scar hooks pale across one cheekbone. His eyes are cold enough to frost glass, and they are fixed on me. I lift my chin. I will not look away. Let him see a black woman who was raised to keep her spine when everything else is taken. He stops in front of my chair. The whole room holds its breath. And then the most feared man in the city lowers himself to the floor. He kneels. He kneels at my feet like the marble was made for it, and his big scarred hands come up, gentle, so gentle it makes my chest hurt, and he cradles my wrists. A key turns. The cuffs fall away and clatter on the stone, obscenely loud in the silence. He turns my hand over. He presses his mouth to the raw red skin where the metal chewed me, and he looks up at me with something I have no word for. Devotion, grief, worship, like a man who found the thing he lost a lifetime ago. Behind him, 20 hardened killers stand frozen, not one of them breathing. "Forgive me," he says, low, "only for me. I did not know they would put you in chains. Whoever touched you will answer for every mark." I stare down at this monster on his knees, and the only thought in my whole spinning head is, I know him. God help me, I know this man. Let me take you back 3 days, back to my kitchen, and my sister, and the phone call that sold me. My name is Naomi Adeyemi. I am 29 years old. I teach music to children in a part of the city where the buses run late and the rent runs high, and until 3 days ago, the biggest crime in my life was letting my sister get away with too much. Amara is my baby sister. Beautiful and reckless in exactly the ways I never let myself be. That night I came home to find her on my kitchen floor with her back against the cabinets and her mascara in ruins, and I knew before she said a word that she had done something we couldn't take back. "How much?" I said. Not a question, a dread. She couldn't look at me. "Naomi, I didn't know who they were. I swear to God I didn't know." The number she finally choked out made the room tilt. It was not a number 2. Working women could pay in 3 lifetimes, and it did not belong to a bank. It belonged to men who send other men to your door. "There's a name," she whispered. "Everybody I owe, they all roll up under one name." She pressed her fists to her eyes. Kang Ji-hwan. I felt the floor go cold under me. Even I had heard that name. Even I knew what it meant. "They said," her voice broke, "they said the debt could be settled another way, that he collects things, people, that if I sent someone in my place." She finally looked at me, and the shame in her face was worse than any bruise. "I told them no. I told them no, Naomi, I swear." But somebody had told them yes, because 2 nights later they came for me, not for Amara, for me. Like they had been given my name specifically, like this had never really been about the money at all. I didn't scream when they put me in the car. I looked back once at my little apartment with the secondhand piano in the window, and I promised myself one thing. Whatever this man was going to do to me, he would not get the satisfaction of watching me beg. I had no idea I was being driven straight back into the middle of my own past. They took me up, not down into some basement like the movies, up in a mirrored elevator that climbed so high my ears popped, to a floor made of black marble and colder than the night outside. That is where they cuffed me. That is where I sat, chin up, while 20 men waited for their king. You already know what he did when he saw me. Now let me tell you what happened after he took the chains off. He rose from the floor slowly, the way a mountain would if a mountain could stand, and when he turned to face his men, his voice had changed completely. Gone was the low tenderness he'd given me. What came out now was iron. Who put metal on her wrists? Nobody moved. Then a big man near the wall, shaved head, thick neck, tattooed to the jaw, cleared his throat. "Boss, the creditors delivered her that way. You only, Ji-hwan didn't raise his voice, and somehow that was more terrifying than a shout. You looked at a woman in chains in my house, and you decided that was acceptable." He let the silence stretch until it hurt. "Bring me the men who brought her. Not tonight. I want them awake and thinking about it first." The big man went pale under his ink and bowed so low his chin nearly hit his chest. "I want you to understand what I was watching, because I didn't fully understand it myself in that moment. These men had seen their boss kill. They'd seen him negotiate with governments and stare down rival armies without blinking. What they had never once seen, what visibly short-circuited every hardened brain in that hall, was Kang Ji-hwan on his knees, and then, a breath later, terrifying on his feet, and both of those things aimed at protecting the same woman. A woman who, 40 minutes ago, had been counted out to them like inventory. You could see them trying to reconcile it and failing. You could see the story already spreading through the room without a word spoken. Whoever she is not to be touched. She is above us now. I sat very straight in that chair and let them look. If I was going to survive whatever this was, they needed to learn that lesson on the first night. Then Ji-hwan turned back to me, and the iron melted off him like it had never been there. "You're safe," he said. "I know you have no reason on earth to believe that, but it is the truest thing I have ever said." I found my voice at last. It came out steadier than I felt. "People keep telling me I was sold to you to pay my sister's debt. So which is it? Am I safe or am I yours?" Something flickered behind his cold eyes. "Pain, maybe. Both," he said quietly. "But not the way you think. Not the way anyone in this room thinks." He glanced at his men, and every one of them found somewhere else to look. "Not here. Come with me." "Please." That please undid me a little. Feared kings do not say please. I stood on legs that had gone to sleep in that chair, and I walked out of that hall a half step behind a monster, past 20 men who parted for me now like I was made of glass and fire. He took me higher still, to the very top of the tower. I had braced myself for a cell, a locked room, a cage with good lighting. Instead, the elevator opened onto a home, warm lamplight, floor-to-ceiling windows holding the whole glittering city in their glass, books, a piano. An actual piano, black and gleaming by the window. I stopped dead when I saw it. "You play," he said, not a question. He said it like a man confirming something he'd carried a long time. "How would you know that?" My mouth went dry. "You bought me tonight. You don't know anything about me." "I know more than you'd believe." He stayed by the door, keeping his distance, like he understood exactly how much space a cornered woman needs. "This floor is yours. The door is not locked and will never be locked. There are no cameras past the elevator. If you want to leave in the morning, a car will take you anywhere in the world and the debt dies tonight. All of it. Amara's too, erased. You'll never hear these names again." I turned to stare at him. Just like that, I walk out and owe nothing. "You never owed anything," he said. "You owe me less than anyone alive. If anything." He stopped himself. His jaw worked. "Get some rest. We'll talk when you're ready, and not 1 second before." He left. The door stayed open behind him, exactly like he'd promised. I stood in that beautiful room I could walk out of, staring at a piano I never told him I could play. And the deferred question sank its hook in deep. How does the most feared man in the city know the shape of my hands? I didn't sleep. I sat at that piano until the sky started to gray, my fingers resting on keys I didn't press, and I made myself remember. Because the truth had been circling me all night like a bird that couldn't land, and finally, near dawn, it did. 7 years ago. Before I taught music, before Amara's troubles. I was 22 and broke, and walking home from a double shift through an alley I should never have taken, when I nearly tripped over a man, bleeding out against a dumpster in the rain. He was younger then, but it was him. I know that now. Then he was just a stranger with a wound in his side turning his shirt black, and eyes that had already given up on the next stranger helping. Half the neighborhood had walked past him that night. I heard later there were men hunting him, that whoever he was, helping him could get you killed too. I helped him anyway. I don't know why. I've asked myself for 7 years. Maybe because my mother raised me to believe that you do not step over a dying person to protect your own peace. I got my shoulder under his arm. He was heavy, all muscle and dead weight, and he kept telling me to leave him, to run, that I didn't understand what I was doing. His voice was fading even as he warned me. I told him to save his breath and lean on me. I took him to my tiny apartment because it was closer than any hospital that would ask questions. Because a hospital meant police, and police meant paperwork, and the way he flinched at the word told me paperwork could get him killed. I remember every second of that night with a clarity I've never had for anything since. The rain drumming the window, the way my hands wouldn't stop shaking as I poured cheap liquor over a wound the length of my palm. I had a drugstore sewing kit and a video I'd seen once and nothing else, and I stitched him shut on my own kitchen table while he bit down on a folded dish towel and stared at the ceiling and never once cried out. Between the pain he watched me. Not the wound, me, like he was memorizing my face. Like he'd decided something about me that I wasn't in on. I fed him rice and eggs because it was all I had in the cupboard, and I watched a man who I now know could buy the whole building eat like it was the finest meal of his life. Slow, grateful, his eyes wet. I never asked his name. He never gave it. He asked me once, near dawn, why I'd done it when the whole street had walked past. I told him the truth, because somebody has to be the person who stops, or the world stops being worth living in. He went very quiet after that. He was gone before sunrise, and on my table he'd left nothing but a folded square of paper with 4 words in careful English. I will find you. I'd thought it was a stranger's fever dream promise. I'd thrown the note in a drawer and forgotten it the way you forget things too heavy to carry. 7 years later, that stranger sat on a throne of black marble, and when they delivered me to him in chains, he got down on his knees. The elevator chimed. I didn't turn around. You found me, I said to the window. My reflection watched his cross the glass. I never stopped looking, Kang Ji-hwan said. 7 years. I had people in 3 countries searching for a woman whose name I didn't even know. All I had was a face I couldn't forget and a debt I could never repay. His reflection stopped a careful distance from mine. You saved my life and asked for nothing. Do you understand how rare that made you in my world? In any world? My hands were shaking again. The debt, Amara's debt, was that you? No. The word was hard and fast. That is the part that keeps me up at night. I found you 3 weeks ago. Finally, after all these years. I was going to come to you like a man. Flowers, a stupid speech, on your terms, a bitter breath. Before I could, someone in my own house found you first. Someone who understood exactly what you are to me, and they made sure you'd be delivered to me broken, in chains, so that I would have to watch. The cold that went through me had nothing to do with the marble. Who? That, he said, is what we are going to find out. Together, if you'll let me. He was hiding something in the set of his shoulders. I could see it. But the piano was real, and the open door was real, and the note in the drawer had been real for 7 years. I'll let you, I said, but understand something, Kang Ji-hwan. I turned around and faced him fully for the first time. I am not a thing that was delivered to you. Not to be owned, not to be worshipped, not to be saved. If we do this, we do it as 2 people standing up, not one of us on their knees. Unquote. The most feared man in the city smiled, a real one, cracking that hard, scarred face wide open, like I'd just handed him the only thing he'd ever actually wanted. Yes, my queen, he said, and I hated how much I didn't hate it. Her name is Soraya, and she found me 2 days later in the tower's garden, wearing a smile I recognized before I understood it. It was the smile of a woman measuring you for a coffin. "So you're the ghost," she said, circling a fountain, elegant as a knife. "The mystery he burned 7 years chasing. I expected." Her eyes flicked down me and back up, cataloging my skin, my hair, all of it, more. "And you are?" "I'm the woman who was supposed to sit beside him." She said it lightly, but her knuckles were white on her champagne glass. "I built half of what he has. I bled for this family while you were teaching children to play chopsticks. And then some woman he met in an alley for one night walks in wearing chains and he gets on his knees. Her laugh was a lovely, poisonous thing. You'll forgive me if I don't curtsy." There it was, not the whole of it, but a thread. Someone in his own house. Someone who understood exactly what I was to him. "You put me in those chains," I said, not a question. Her smile didn't slip, and that was answer enough. I gave him what he wanted, his long-lost saint delivered to his door. She leaned close, and her voice dropped to something almost kind. "But saints don't last in this world, sweetheart. They get martyred. You should take his car and his mercy and disappear before you find out how." She walked away on heels like ice picks, and I stood by the fountain with my heart slamming, because I finally understood the shape of the danger. It wasn't him. It had never been him. It was everyone who wanted what he was ready to give me. They came for me that night in the parking garage. Ji Huan was walking me to the car, insisting, always insisting, on doing it himself, when 3 men peeled out from between the concrete pillars with knives out and no words, which is how you know it isn't a robbery. It's an execution. What happened next took maybe 6 seconds, and I have replayed it for the rest of my life. He didn't reach for a gun, there wasn't time, and a shot would have brought the garage down on us. He put himself between me and the blades, his whole body, no hesitation, like stepping in front of me was as natural as breathing. The first man swung. Ji Huan took the knife across his forearm, turned it, broke the wrist that held it. The second one he put through a car window. The third got close enough that I saw the blade go into his side, low, the same side, I realized with a lurch, the same side I once stitched in a rainy apartment 7 years ago. He didn't make a sound. He just kept his body between me and them until his men came pouring in, and it was over. I need you to hear the thing that broke me about those 6 seconds. He had 100 men, a fortress, a whole army of people paid to bleed for him, and when the knives came out, his single animal instinct, faster than thought, was to make his own body the wall, not to survive, to shield. A powerful man's first reflex tells you everything about what he actually treasures, and Kang Ji Huan's first reflex, with 3 blades coming, was me. I got my hands on the wound before he could stop me, pressing hard, my palms going red, and I heard myself saying, "No, no, no, not like this, not after I already saved you once." He looked down at me, pressing my whole weight into keeping him alive, and he actually laughed, this broken little laugh, blood on his teeth. "Second time," he whispered. "You've saved me twice now. I'm never going to be able to repay that." "Then don't die and we'll call it even," I snapped, and I felt him laugh again under my hands. He didn't die. He took 12 stitches. I made them let me stay while the doctor worked, and I held his scarred hand the whole time, and somewhere in that fluorescent room between the blood and the fear, I stopped being a woman who was delivered to him and started being a woman who could not stand the thought of losing him. That terrified me more than the knives had, because I understood, finally, what he'd been hiding in the set of his shoulders. It wasn't a lie, it was fear. The most powerful man in the city was afraid of exactly one thing in this whole world, and it was that his world would take me from him the way it took everything soft that ever got close to him. While he slept off the anesthesia, gripping my hand even unconscious, his big shaved-headed lieutenant, Taeyang, I'd learned, sat down heavily across from me. "He's been different since he found you," Taeyang said, staring at his boss. "Softer. The men don't understand it. Some of them don't like it." He looked at me, and there was a warning in it, but not a cruel one. "Sora's been in his ear for years, and she's not working alone. The creditors who bought your sister's debt, They didn't do it for money. Somebody paid them to find the woman who mattered to the boss. Somebody who wanted her used as a weapon against him. He leaned forward. You want to know who really sold you? Don't look at your sister. Look at who profited from breaking her. A curiosity loop I'd left open 3 days ago finally snapped taut. Amara hadn't been reckless. Amara had been targeted. Someone had fed my baby sister a debt like bait, knowing she'd panic, knowing they could squeeze my name out of the mess, all to deliver me to Ji Huan in chains and turn the one soft thing in his life into the knife that gutted him. I'd been so busy being furious at my sister that I never once asked who'd handed her the loaded gun. The stitches kept him in the tower for a week, and that week undid every wall I had left. A man like King Ji Huan does not know how to be still. I watched him try. I watched the most feared king in the city fight the sedatives so he could keep his eyes on me, and lose, and wake with a jolt reaching for my hand before he was even conscious, checking, always checking, that I was still there and still whole. The first morning I brought him breakfast, he tried to stand to take the tray from me, torn stitches and all, because in his mind, the woman who saved him twice should never carry so much as a plate. Sit down, I told him. Sit down before you rip yourself open being noble. He sat. He watched me set the tray across his lap like I'd hung the sun in his window. And I understood something about him then that the whole terrified city had never once seen. This man did not want to be served. He wanted to serve. All that fear he spread across the city, all that ice, it was a wall he'd built around a boy who'd bled in an alley while the world stepped over him, and the only person ever allowed inside the wall was the one who hadn't stepped over. That was me. His men came and went with reports, and I learned to read the second face he wore. When Taeyong or the others were in the room, Ji Huan was granite, clipped orders, cold eyes, decisions made in 3 words that sent hard men scrambling. Then the door would close, and the granite would just set me free of it. He'd exhale. His shoulders would come down. He'd reach for my hand like it was the first easy breath he'd taken all day. One afternoon, a lieutenant walked in without knocking, while Ji Huan was on the floor at my feet. Not kneeling in worship this time, just sitting on the rug with his back against my knees, while I read out loud, his eyes closed, my fingers absently in his hair. The lieutenant froze in the doorway. You could see the whole architecture of his world crack behind his eyes. The boss who'd once put a rival through a windshield, sitting on the floor like a big cat, letting a woman card her fingers through his hair. Ji Huan didn't even open his eyes. You saw nothing, he said, and if it ever leaves this floor, neither will you. The man bowed and fled, and I felt Ji Huan's smile against my knee, unbothered, unashamed, because the only person in the world whose opinion of him mattered was already looking down at him like he was hers. You like that, I said quietly, them not knowing what to do with it. I like that you're not afraid of me. He turned and rested his chin on my knee, those cold, dangerous eyes gone soft and open in a way no enemy had ever lived to see. Do you know how long it's been since someone looked at me and saw a person instead of a threat? 7 years. The last time was an alley in the rain. You've ruined me, Naomi. I run half this city, and I'd trade all of it to sit on this floor and hear you turn a page. I should have said something wise, something with a spine in it. Instead, I heard myself say, then don't trade it. Keep the city and keep me too. I'm not going anywhere. Something broke open in his face. He rose up on his knees, careful of the stitches, one hand braced on the arm of my chair, until we were level, until I could feel the heat coming off him and count the flecks of amber in those cold eyes up close. He didn't grab me. This man who took what he wanted from the whole world asked for nothing, waited, let me close the last inch myself. So I did. I kissed the most feared man in the city, and he made a sound against my mouth like a man who'd been thirsty for 7 years, and his big scarred hands came up to cradle my face like I was made of something breakable and holy. When we finally broke apart, he pressed his forehead to mine and just breathed, and I felt the tremble go through him, and I realized the terror I'd been carrying had a twin, that he was every bit as afraid of losing me as I was of losing him. Whatever this is, I whispered, we don't get to have it until she's finished. Sora doesn't stop. You know she doesn't. I know, his jaw hardened, the granite creeping back, but he kept his forehead against mine. So we finish it, on your terms, however you want it done. And that was the moment I stopped being someone this happened to and became the one deciding how it ended. I called Amara from the tower that night, and for the first time in 3 days I didn't lead with my anger. Who gave you the loan? I said gently. Not the collectors, the person, the one who found you first and made it feel easy. Silence. Then, small, a woman. Elegant, Korean. She was so nice, Naomi. She said she ran a fund for people the banks turned down. She knew our names already. She knew about you. She asked about you, your job, whether you still played piano. Amara's breath hitched as she heard it out loud, as the trap sprung shut in her own memory. Oh my God! She used me to get to you. I handed you to them. Naomi, I handed you to them. You didn't know, I said, and I meant it now. But you can help me undo it. I need you to be brave for me one more time, and this time we're going to be smart. Sora had made one mistake. She was so certain she'd already won that she'd stopped watching my sister, the loose thread, the frightened girl she'd used and discarded. And a discarded girl who loves her sister will walk back into the lion's mouth to make things right. Amara agreed to meet her, to play the terrified little sister begging for more time, and to wear the wire Taeyang taped under her collar. I sat in a van 3 blocks away with Ji-hwan's arm still in a sling and his good hand wrapped around mine, and we listened to my baby sister sit across from the woman who'd sold me and coax out every damning word. Sora, drunk on her own cleverness, told my sister everything. How she'd bought the debt, how she'd chosen my name, how she'd arranged the chains so he'd have to see his precious saint on her knees and finally understand that sentiment is a weakness in this family, and I intend to cure him of it. How the rival faction, the Bake Syndicate, had funded all of it in exchange for the chaos it would cause when Kang Ji-hwan's soft heart made him careless. It was all there, every word, recorded. Beside me in the dark van, Ji-hwan went very, very still. And when he finally spoke, his voice was the iron I'd heard that first night, but colder. She reached into your family, he said. She used your sister as a lure. She put you in chains in my own house. He turned to me, and his cold eyes had something molten underneath now. In my world, there are old rules about what you do to a man who sells a woman like property. I'm going to make every boss in this city remember them, and I'm going to make them watch. No, I said. He blinked. Not watch her, I said. Watch me. If we're doing this, I'm not the trophy at the back of the room while the men handle it. She looked at me and saw something small. Let her find out exactly how wrong she was, in front of everyone she was trying to impress. That crack-faced smile again, slow and dangerous and proud. Yes, my queen, he said, then let's throw a party. The Bake Syndicate held a gathering every winter, a ballroom full of the city's worst men in their best suits, a fragile truce under crystal chandeliers where the bosses pretended to be businessmen for one night. Sora would be there on the Beck family's arm, believing she'd won, believing Kang Ji-hwan was too wounded and too soft to strike. We walked in together. I wore red, deliberate, unmissable red, my hair crowned high, my head higher. Ji-hwan walked beside me with his arm out of the sling by will alone, and the room went quiet in ripples as we crossed it, because everyone there had heard some version of the story, the feared king, and the woman who'd been delivered to him in chains, and here she was, crowned in red on his arm, and here he was, watching her like she hung the moon. Sora's face when she saw us was worth every night I hadn't slept. Ji-hwan didn't go to her. He went to the center of the room, to the Bake patriarch himself, and he did it with me at his side. He didn't shout. Feared men never have to. Before we drink, he said, and the room stilled to catch it. I have business. A member of my family conspired with this house to buy a woman's debt, to lure her sister with it, and to deliver a free woman to me in chains as a gift. He let that land on every guilty face in the room. I want you all to hear me say it plainly, so there is no confusion later about why what happens next is happening. In my house, we do not trade women like cattle. Anyone who forgot that is about to remember." He nodded to Taeyang. And Sora's own confession poured out of the ballroom speakers, her voice crisp and unmistakable, bragging to a frightened girl about chains and lures and curing him of his weakness, while 300 of the most dangerous people in the city listened to her sell me in her own words. The Beck patriarch went gray. The truce he'd funded was now a confession, playing over his own sound system, in front of every rival he'd spent 30 years pretending to respect. I watched it move through the room like a tide. These were not soft people. Half of them had done worse things than soda before breakfast. But there are rules even in a world with no laws, and the oldest one, older than any of the men in that room, is that you do not sell a woman to break a man. Every boss there had a mother, a daughter, a sister. Every one of them was doing the same arithmetic. If the Bake family would trade a woman as a weapon today, whose family was safe from them tomorrow? I saw alliances die in real time behind 300 pairs of eyes. The Beck patriarch reached for his glass and found his own hand shaking. Sora's mask finally cracked. She'd built her whole play on the belief that a devoted man is a weak one, that love would make Ji-hwan careless, sloppy, easy to steer. She'd never once imagined that the most dangerous thing in the world is a powerful man who has finally found something worth protecting. She looked at me across that ballroom, and I let her see it plainly on my face. You didn't lose to him, you lost to me. Sora lunged for the exit. Ji-hwan's men were already there. And then, in front of all of them, under the crystal and the crowd and the enemies who'd come to watch him look weak, the most feared man in the city turned to me, and he sank to one knee. Again, on purpose, where every single one of them could see. He took my hand, my unchained hand, the same wrist he'd kissed in that marble hall, and he pressed his lips to it, and he looked up at me with the whole room as his witness. "They tried to bring you to me in chains, to make you small," he said, loud enough now for all of them. "So let them see the truth with their own eyes. I don't own you, I kneel for you. You are not a payment on anyone's debt. You are my queen, and any man in this room who forgets it will answer to me and to every rule this world was built on." He looked past me at Sokra, held between two of his men. "Take her, and the Bake accounts to the others. Let them decide what a woman traitor is worth. I already know." And cull. The ballroom did not breathe. I looked down at the man kneeling in front of 300 people who had come to see him humbled, and who were instead watching him choose, gladly, to be humble, for me. And I understood at last that his kneeling had never once been about being small. It was the most powerful thing a powerful man could do. It was him saying, in the only language his world respected, "Touch her and I will end you, but for her, I will kneel where you can all see." I did not pull him up right away. I let them look. Let Sora see. Let every man who'd ever counted me like cargo get a long, clear look at the feared king of the city on his knee for the woman they underestimated. Then I raised him up with my own hand, because that was the truth of us, neither one above the other. "Get up," I said softly, just for him, kings and queens stand together. The Beck syndicate crumbled inside a month. Not by a single shot, but by every rival Ji-hwan had invited to that ballroom. Each one now certain the Becks were the kind of men who'd trade a woman and get caught bragging about it. Sora vanished into the machinery of a world with very long memory and no mercy for people who put chains on the wrong woman. The crooked creditors who'd hunted my sister found every door in the city suddenly closed to them. Amara, brave, foolish, redeemed Amara, went back to school 2 states away, and calls me every Sunday, and has never once let anyone hand her anything easy again. And me? I woke up this morning in the highest room in the city, in a home with a door that has never once been locked, beside a scarred and terrifying man who becomes, in the dark, the gentlest thing I've ever known. There's a piano by the window. He listens to me play like it's the only sound in the world worth hearing. He still kneels, in private, when he's tired, when he wants to press his forehead to my knees and just breathe. And I let him, now, because I finally understand it isn't surrender. It's the safest either of us has ever felt. Amara came to visit last month. She stood in the doorway of that impossible room and watched the feared king of the city get up from his chair the instant I walked in, watched him take the coat off my shoulders and pour my tea and go quiet with contentment just to have me near. And my baby sister started to cry. Not from fear. She told me later she'd spent months sick with guilt, certain she'd sold her sister into a nightmare. Instead, she'd walked into the safest house I have ever lived in. "He looks at you," she whispered, "like you invented daylight." I told her he does. And I told her I'd finally forgiven her, because the trap someone else built to break me had, against every intention, brought me home. They sold me to pay a debt. They put me in chains and called me property. They should have remembered, the woman you underestimate is the one who saved the king when the whole world left him to die. And a king who remembers who saved him will burn his entire empire before he lets her feel small again. So here's my question for you, and I really want to know. If you'd been in that alley 7 years ago, bleeding stranger in the rain, everyone else walking past, would you have stopped? Would you have helped? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. If this story kept you to the end, do me one small thing: subscribe, so the next one finds you. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next story.